Yeah, I'm very excited about that. Can I just put it on my Instagram and just see if Riri hits me up? Or do we have to like put it next to the thing in the video and we got to do the whole thing and put it on the Rhett and Link stuff? Can I just do it on my personal stuff?
Yes, Rhett, I give you permission to post it on your
because
personal Instagram.
Technically,
in addition to all
you
that.
own that photo because you took it. That's how photos work.
Right, I give you permission to put it on your Instagram.
Yeah, my okay.
That's nice.
Yesterday,
Well, we're at lunch.
we were at lunch and we actually had lunch here for my wife and kids because they were going to be at the office around lunch, and I was like, let's get them lunch as well. And so I texted Jesse and I was like, you do know that you and the kids have lunch here? And she texts back.
Sounded
she says,
passive aggressive.
currently I am on the side of the road. I can just, you know what? I can read you exactly what she said because she texted it to me.
It's in your phone.
Yeah.
You have a permanent record.
I want to get these.
He's making this up, but he's trying to make you believe it by
I texted,
pulling out his phone.
there is food here for you and boys.
Oh, that wasn't passive aggressive.
And she says, I'm currently stuck on the side of the road and about to have to cut Shep out of the seatbelt. About to lose my mind. Trying to decide if I need to call 911. I'm on the line with the Acura dealer. He's tied.
Hold on, she called 911 and someone from Acura answered?
Well, let me get into the details. He's tied himself into a knot. It's stuck around his waist and locked.
At least it's not around his neck. That would be really bad.
So obviously at that moment, I didn't just keep texting. I called her. And she was like, I can't talk right now. I'm on the line with the Acura person and they're helping me. I was like, okay.
So it was tied around his waist. That's where a seatbelt goes.
Well, so here's what happened. He was in a normal seatbelt. He was in his seatbelt,
okay.
But then he was in the back, and there's another seatbelt that in the third row seating of the SUV, there's seatbelts that come from the roof because you want to be out of the way completely.
Because when seats lay down, you can't string the seatbelt with it.
Right. So he took the seatbelt from the roof and pulled it down and wrapped it around his waist. This is Shepard. This is not surprising at all.
It was probably a better way to be secure.
Yeah, yeah. He was just trying to have redundancy in his restraints. So anyway, he's all the way in the back, and Jesse's driving. Locke is not currently there.
Okay.
And so she was actually going to get Locke to bring him back here. And she says, Shepard's like, Mom, I'm stuck in the seatbelt. And she's like, okay, Shepard. And then he's like, Mom, I'm stuck in the seatbelt. And he started crying. And she's like, Shepard?
She's driving down the road.
You're gonna have to stay stuck until we get home. And then he starts really crying and he's like saying things like, I can't breathe. So she just went home. No. So she stopped and she pulled onto the side of the road. She actually pulled off of the highway, the freeway, and got down on like a side street.
That's good.
And that's where she made the calls. So she said that it looked and it was like wrapped around and it was really tight around his waist, and somehow it had gotten locked up to itself and the top part had locked and there was nothing to release. Because at first I thought, that's why I later when she was on the phone, I was like texting her pointless things like, you can't release the latch, things like just trying to be a helpful husband. It's like saying,
you can't just push the red button on the latch.
But there was it wasn't anything to be released. And so now you may remember that
he's like a sailor tying himself up to the mast.
I told a story a few years ago about a squirrel coming into the house in my home.
And she called 911.
She called 911.
Yes.
Well, I'm ready to update you with the fact that my wife Jessie called 911 again. She called 911 again yesterday when this happened. And because apparently, and I don't know why she didn't tell me this the first time, but she told me that this morning. She's like, I actually did call 911, but it said we are experiencing high call volumes. And that was it. That's what happens when you call 911 LA, because women are calling 911 about squirrels in their homes and their children being tied up in seatbelts, and that's why people with real emergencies can't get through.
Well, hold on, Rhett. There's faults in your logic because she's the one.
There's faults in your logic.
She's the one that couldn't get through.
She couldn't get through because of other people like her. who are calling 911 inappropriately, which she admitted.
I'm staying out of this.
No, well, what she said this morning, she was like, I called 911 because I was panicking because he couldn't. He was crying, and Shepard doesn't cry for no reason. Like, he cries when he's hurt. So
did she have scissors?
No, she didn't. And because she was like, I think I'm gonna have to cut him out, but she didn't have. You can't cutting a seatbelt. You gotta have a good pair of scissors or a knife, and we don't have that in the car. So anyway, she said this morning, when Shepard, we don't let him carry a knife anymore. She said, well, the reason I couldn't get through, I guess, is because people like me calling 911 for, when they shouldn't be. So she recognized that she shouldn't have been calling 911.
I think they knew why she was calling.
But that is a little bit scary, though, because what if it was a real emergency? Is that how crowded this city is? That if you're, and I said, did they call you back? She's like, no. So, like, what if I'm dying? It's a I've fallen and I can't get up moment, and I don't have my life alert, lifelalert.com. Not a sponsor. I don't even know if it's .com. Is it .org?
I don't know.
Could be. It could be .biz, .us, .net. I don't know. They probably own them all. Life alert's in charge. And I don't have my life alert, and then I call 911 and I can't speak and I'm having a heart attack, and they're like, we are experiencing high call volume, and then I become incapacitated. Shouldn't they? It just seems scary. 911 is the lifeline. So anyway, we need more 911 operators.
What did they say? High call volume? The Los Angeles 911 system.
Oh, he's still in there. Yeah, you guys got a good pair of scissors.
Yeah, what happened?
The next thing she texted me was, "We got it." No words. Because she had a tough day yesterday. Shepard did a number of other things. She's busy right now. Lots of things going on. So, but what ended up happening is she said that eventually she was able to get the weight off of it, and it released. And I don't know if that was with the help of the Acura person on the phone. Because then I was also like, you have the OnStar button.
It's too bad you didn't have a Honda because of those helpful Honda.
Yeah, those people will show up and do your laundry for you. But we have an OnStar button, but we've never pressed it.
I don't know, what would someone say in that case, though? Like, what do you say?
I don't know, but I'm just interested. The main thing that I'm thinking about is I'm just thinking about the vulnerability of life in these parts.
Wearing a seatbelt anymore.
Yeah, he's not wearing a seatbelt anymore, definitely. And he's getting the knife back.
When I search Los Angeles 911, when I search high call volume 911, the Los Angeles 911 system infographic comes up.
Oh, an infographic.
And it says, it is apparent that the CHP, California Highway Patrol, has an increasingly large volume of 911 calls, yet it is equipped with fewer resources to identify vital information. In response to these growing challenges, enhanced wireless 911 service has already begun to be implemented in LA, in which 911 calls from cell phones will bypass CHP and instead be routed to local PSAPs and with ANI and ALI technology.
We don't need any PCPs, man.
Oh, well, PSAPs and with Annie and Allie technology. So
Annie and Allie gonna show up?
I guess for some reason it didn't go to
Annie
or
and Allie got
either.
a side biz going on.
So we haven't talked about it. We should talk about it now.
But listen, you
said in the tweet, I'm okay, and I'm like, okay.
You have a show. Yeah, thanks for the call. No, I did say I was okay. You have a show with your best friend when something happens to you, and you're like, I don't want to tell you until we're on the show. Because I want this to be fresh. I want them to experience it for the first time that you're experiencing it.
But was the first thing you thought, am I okay? Or was the first thing you thought, I can't wait to tell Link, but only on the show, what's happening right now?
I gotta say, I like when things happen to me that feel like a big deal but aren't really a big deal, because it gives me something to talk about. Not only on the show, but in life, at parties.
Yeah. That's
Gather around, kids!
It is a sad commentary.
Papa's got a story.
On like who you are as a person.
So yeah, let me just
first
of all, thank you for all the mythical beasts. So that even though I said I was okay, and that was very clear in the tweet, we're like, are you okay? It's like, I mean, I appreciate that it doesn't mean you're dumb. It just means that you're caring. I told you I was okay, and you still asked if I was okay because maybe you doubted.
I don't think you.
Maybe you thought I was had a concussion. I was being forgetful.
I just don't think it's right to call them dumb.
I said they're not dumb. Okay, so here's what happened. I was in the car. That's the first thing you got to understand. And I was getting ready to drive up to Big Bear with my boy, Shepherd, because my wife and other child were in Africa at the time. And
they make a wrong turn or something?
So, yeah. They thought they were going to...
Make a wrong turn in Pasadena, you end up in Uganda?
Thought they were going to Temecula.
Temecula, Uganda.
And so they, Daddy's home with Shepherd, so Daddy's got to be entertaining and make this tolerable. 10 days we were together.
For him, it needs to be tolerable, being with you that long.
So I was like, we'll go up and we'll go to Big Bear and get you a second ski lesson because he's kind of learning how to ski. So we were going to leave on a Friday night, and we waited a little bit for the traffic to clear because it takes like 2 hours to get from LA to Big Bear. But on a Friday night during rush hour, there's like at least another hour that's added. I just didn't want to stay in that traffic because I was like, let's just stay around here and let's eat, and then we'll go a little bit later. That was a mistake, as fate would have it. So I'm on the 5 heading south. I'm in the carpool lane legally because I have a child in the back seat.
Now the 5 has 16 lanes if you count both directions.
It was on a wide part too.
So wide.
And even though we had waited until like 7:30 and traffic had cleared a little bit, it was still stop and go. So basically every lane full, literally stopping and going. And at one of my stops, which was kind of an abrupt stop because the guy in front of me stopped kind of quickly, I stopped, and then I see the guy behind me coming at me.
Because when you stop that quickly, you instinctively look in the rearview mirror in this town. Because if I stop that abruptly,
I adjust. It's almost second nature at this point. I look in the rearview mirror as I'm stopping, and I can still see the car in front of me, and I'm actually slowing down my braking in order to get as close as I can to the car in front of me so the guy in the back will have as much room and not hit me.
You're like a self-driving algorithm.
Right. But you just do it instinctively, right? So I slow down, I stop, I see the guy careening towards me, and I'm like, brace yourself.
What's he driving? What kind of vehicle?
Small car. So I'm in a sedan, he's in a sedan.
Okay, that's good.
Not really worried about safety at this point, just kind of worried about my car.
Okay.
But he comes to a complete stop.
Boom. No boom.
No boom, just short of me, and I take a sigh of relief.
What's Shepherd doing? Is he sighing?
Shepherd is actually already, even though we haven't really left town, he's laying down. Like he's got his seatbelt on, but he's laying down like about to go to sleep.
Oh, dozing.
And so, as soon as my eyes kind of return to the road from the rearview mirror, boom! Incredible! Like it was I haven't been hit in the rear since I was a
since you
kid.
Played basketball.
And my parents got. We got rear-ended by a dude that had a stroke and totaled our minivan, or one. I can't remember whatever car we were in.
That's a stroke of unluck.
And so it's shocking. It's immediately shocking, and like my head hit the headrest
because you didn't see this coming at all.
And I'm turning around, I'm checking on Shepherd, and Shepherd's like, "Dad, get out of the car!"
Really?
Yeah. I don't know if he thought it was going to explode or what.
What did you say?
I did get out of the car.
Oh, you did?
We were in the carpool lane, and it was, and we had stopped, and so of course I'm getting out of the car to like check on my car and see what the deal is. So I stopped the car, I turned the car off, I opened the door.
You didn't let Shepherd out.
I say, "Shepherd, stay in the car." I get out, and I go back just expecting. First of all, I'm kind of mad. I'm not like.
Well, can you tell me
out.
what was the car that hit? A car hit a sedan that then hit you.
Oh yeah. So what had happened?
What was
is
that car?
The guy behind me in the sedan had stopped short, but the guy behind him in the pickup, a full-size pickup, had hit him, bounced him into me.
We talking like a Dodge Ram?
It was a big white truck. I think like an F-150, like a big standard pickup. And I get out thinking, all my stuff is in the trunk, and now I'm not going to be able to open the trunk. We're not going to be able to go to big. I'm thinking about my trip. I'm thinking about my weekend.
Because you could tell you weren't hurt.
Yeah, but I'd been hit. It felt so hard. I was like, I'm not hurt, but I'm sure that the impact was absorbed by the trunk. This is what these modern cars do, right? not a Caprice Classic like my dad drove. I mean, this thing's gonna give, right? And I go back to the back, and there's nothing. The only thing I see is, there's the little backup sensors that look like little hole punches on the bumper that, kind of little indentions. One of them has been pushed through the bumper. So I do have to take the car to get looked at because there may be more extensive damage. But the trunk
Pushed through? So did you look at the bumper of the car that hit you and there's like a finger on the front of it?
No, it's almost like his license plate. It's almost like his license plate screw must have hit it. Like it's that perfect. It's weird. I don't know. Or it just hit it so hard that it kind of jarred it loose.
So when you went back there,
and his car was fine too.
Really?
In the front.
And they weren't touching. You and his car were not touching at that point. He bounced back off.
Yeah,
a little bit.
It was like a foot away.
And was he out? And then
He was out, and he was like, "You okay, man?" And he shakes my hand, and I because I'm a nice guy.
Big fan.
I was like, I found myself shaking his hand. I was like, why are you shaking my hand? But I was thinking I should be mad at, I should be posturing because who knows what the legal situation is. We saw him shake hands after the crash, officer.
He admitted,
definitely the tall guy's fault.
But what about?
He reciprocated the handshake.
What about the F-150? Where is this dude?
F-150 is kind of an older guy, and he's getting out. But it's before I have a chance to process or talk to anybody. Whoop whoop. Cop. California Highway Patrol is literally right next to the truck. He was already right there. He just happened to be.
He caused it.
Right there.
Did he do it?
And so then he pulls in front of all the traffic at a 45-degree angle, turns his lights on, stops all the traffic, which is what they do in LA.
They fish swerve.
Well, yeah. Interestingly, later in my trip on the way to Big Bear, going down the 210, that happened again, and there was a fish swerve deal happening. They try to manipulate the traffic, and sometimes a cop will just come and he'll just be on the highway with his lights on, just doing this a whole bunch in front of a big line of traffic for 10 minutes, and then he'll just stop.
Yeah.
They're controlling traffic based on an accident somewhere up front or something, trying to keep everybody from coming up there.
It's like a game warden controlling the flow of fish in the stream.
So the cop comes up and he's like, "Sir, are you okay?" I'm like, "I think so." I was like, I don't want to say anything incriminating. What if I actually am bleeding from an eye right now and I don't know it? You haven't done a self-evaluation. I haven't checked everything.
But you, and you don't want him to know.
Right.
Well, the last thing to do is tell a cop you're hurt.
And so I'm like, because he's doing the accident report.
But it's not your fault.
Yeah. So I was like, I think so. And he was like, who's this in the back seat? And when somebody asks that question, even though it's my child, immediately I'm like, I've kidnapped him. It's like you start thinking things like that.
You said I've kidnapped him?
It's someone else's child. No. And it's like, my son. And I was like, as I said, my son, it sounded like I was lying. I'm so paranoid.
Yeah. I do that.
My son, I'm a robot. I can prove it. Anyway, he's like, how old is he? And then I'm like, kind of forgetting his birthday. And then it's like, definitely not my son now.
Yeah.
It was sometime in the late 2000s. I don't know. He was born.
Oh man, this makes me feel great because I would definitely. I do that in normal conversation.
But I gave him the birthday. I think all this was happening. I think the difference between me and you is that this was all happening in my head, but it was coming out normal.
Whoa! Don't rear end me in this story.
I'm just saying, I've been with you in these situations, so I've seen your actions.
Whatever. Okay.
But he didn't seem suspicious at all. And then he says license. I'm like, okay. I give him my license. He just goes off. Goes back to the other guy behind me, and then the guy in the pickup takes the 3 licenses.
And then he rips off his uniform. He's like, suckers! And he's out of there.
Right. He comes back up. I didn't go back to see the back of the second guy's car. I didn't go back.
It ain't his car. He doesn't care.
Okay, I'm okay. So, but nobody was hurt, and I don't think it was severe damage because of what I'm about to tell you. He takes the licenses, he comes up and he says, okay, here's what we're gonna do. First of all, when cops are in these situations, even though you're being cooperative, they speak with a very intimidating, authoritarian thing. Because we got all kinds of people stopped on it's their job. I'm not saying
this is a life or death moment just being on the 5.
Here's what we're gonna do. You are going to drive down the 5. You're going to get off at the Alameda exit. You're going to go west on Alameda. You're going to get off on the shoulder, and then we're going to reconvene there.
And you're like, what's west? Like, tell me left or right, man.
I'm thinking lots of things. I'm like, yeah. But, and so he kept the license. So it's like, you have to do it. He's going to do it. I was like, well, what if we get separated? You know, I don't know this guy. He's got my license now. But
And who is this child?
So I had a moment of absolute bliss, let me tell you. Driving down the 5 with nobody on it. I'm the first one. I start fishing. You know, I'm like, I'm going to get all my money's worth. I'm going to get in every lane.
Yeah, it's like a car commercial.
Yeah, right. I felt like such a king going down about half a mile, just me.
That's
and then the 2 guys behind me.
By the way, that's the only reason. That's the only way you won't find traffic in LA is if they're shooting a car commercial. Which is, by the way, why there's so much traffic in LA.
Yeah.
Because they shut down sections to shoot car commercials.
I saw-
or La La Land.
I
the
passed
sequel.
a car commercial on the 2 the other day, and it was one of those commercials where they have every single car that like Dodge offers all the same color. They were in a V formation going down the 2, and then there was a big rig on it filming all of them.
And you're like in the middle of it, like, am I supposed to be here?
I was on the other side.
He made a cameo in their commercial.
So anyway, long story short, I get down to it was a gas station was where we went inside. He comes over, he asks me some questions. He says, okay, here's an accident report. They fill something out that basically you can give to your insurance company. So when I take my car, presumably it will say it's not this guy's fault because I've talked to everybody and kind of assessed what's going on.
And then starts the exciting part. Tell us about that.
But hopefully
claim.
It'll just be like, we're going to take this sensor and replace it. Hopefully it won't be well, there's actually like a 7-degree bend in your frame now, and it's totaled.
They damaged the wire that goes through the bumper and through every component of the car,
It's only
so
going to be
totaled.
$16,000.